Have you ever wondered how to make someone not just think about you, but actually beg for your attention, like they're sitting there, unable to focus on anything else, as if every thought they have circles back to you, and every little reminder of you makes them crave your presence even more? Before moving further, I would like to request, if you liked this video, consider subscribing or commenting "I am Stoic" in the comment section to show your passion for Stoicism. What if I told you that this isn't just a fantasy that you can make people think about you non-stop? It's something you can absolutely achieve. Yes, my Stoic friends, today we're diving deep into a compelling strategy that's all about mastering the art of strategic withdrawal, stepping back just enough to let others realize exactly what they're missing when you're not around. And yes, I am talking about Stoicism, a philosophy so powerful that it can make your absence more impactful than your presence. And my friends, this isn't about playing games, it's about cultivating a profound appreciation of your intrinsic worth and allowing that realization to echo loudly in your absence. Imagine them thinking about you non-stop, not just because they miss you, but because they're drawn to the undeniable value you bring into their life. Stick with me and we'll uncover the Stoic secrets to becoming that unforgettable presence that lingers in their minds long after you've stepped away. As Seneca said, to make them miss you, you must give them the gift of your absence. Now think about that for a moment. What does it really mean to give someone the gift of your absence? Imagine the impact of stepping back just enough for them to feel your absence, to sense the void where your presence used to be. It's in that space, that silence, that your value is amplified. They start to realize just how much your presence shaped their thoughts, their days, even their emotions. Suddenly, they're thinking about you more than ever before, longing for the return of the energy only you bring. But before we dive in, I've got a challenge that will set the tone for what's about to unfold. If you're ready to step into your power and let your silence echo louder than any words, drop a comment below with the phrase "Calm is my superpower." This isn't just a statement, it's a declaration of your strength, your resolve, and your commitment to becoming unforgettable. It's time to show the world and yourself that you're not just stepping back, you're stepping up in a way that will make them feel your absence like never before. Let's see how many of you are ready to embrace this powerful shift and make your presence undeniable, even when you're not there. Let's take a moment to think about something interesting. Have you ever wondered why some people can't seem to stop thinking about someone, even when that person isn't around? What is it that keeps them on your mind, constantly resurfacing in your thoughts, making you replay conversations and moments over and over? It's not just luck or coincidence. It's a carefully cultivated set of skills and principles that make them unforgettable. And here's the kicker. You can learn to harness these same skills to make someone think about you non-stop. The mind is a powerful thing. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. It's wired to focus on what's significant, what stands out, and what's left unresolved. When someone leaves an impression that's deep, meaningful, and just a bit mysterious, our brains can't help but keep returning to it, trying to decode and understand it. This is why strategic withdrawal, knowing when to step back and create space, can be so effective. It's like planting a seed in someone's mind that grows in your absence, taking root and blossoming into a constant presence in their thoughts. But it's not just about stepping back and waiting. It's about how you occupy their thoughts, even when you're not there. It's about leaving behind subtle cues, unforgettable moments, and emotional imprints that linger long after you've gone. Imagine being able to craft interactions that are so impactful, so charged with meaning, that they stay with someone, echoing in their mind at unexpected moments. That's the power of mastering these skills. Skills rooted in Stoic philosophy, in understanding human psychology, and in knowing how to navigate the complex dynamics of relationships. As we dive deeper into these 10 skills today, keep this question in mind. What are you doing to make yourself unforgettable? Because, as we'll explore, it's not just about being present in their life, it's about being present in their thoughts in a way that feels natural yet irresistible. By the end of this video, you'll have the tools to ensure that when you're not around, they're thinking about you more than ever, wondering what you're doing, what you're thinking, and when they'll see you next. Let's get started on this journey of making yourself unforgettable, not just in the moment, but in their minds. Long after you've stepped away. Let's go. 1. Self-control. The power of calm. So folks, let us dive into the first skill that will make them think about you. Non-stop is self-control. Now I know what you're thinking. Self-control, really, that sounds a bit dull. But stick with me here, because mastering self-control is like becoming a Jedi Master in the game of life. Self-control. When you have self-control, you're not just reacting to the world, you're shaping it. And trust me, nothing makes people think about you more than when you're the one person who remains calm, composed, and in control. No matter what's happening around you, as Seneca said, you have power over your anger. If you choose to control it, it will serve you. This Stoic wisdom is the essence of self-control. Imagine you're in a heated argument. Emotions are flying all over the place, and the other person is expecting you to lose your cool. But instead of reacting, you take a deep breath, stay calm, and respond with a level head. That moment, my friends, is pure gold. It's the kind of thing that sticks in their mind because it's unexpected and it's powerful. You've shown them that you're not just another person caught in the storm. You're the eye of the storm, calm and unshaken. Let's be real, people are naturally drawn to those who can keep their cool. Think about it. When was the last time you were impressed by someone losing their temper or spiraling out of control? Probably never. But the person who stays calm, who doesn't let external chaos disturb their inner peace, that's the person you remember. That's the person who makes you think, wow, how do they do that? And that's exactly what we want here, to become so memorable in our calmness that they can't stop thinking about you. Imagine this scenario: you're at a work meeting and things are getting tense, deadlines are looming, and everyone is on edge. But there you are, you're calm. Sitting calmly, offering solutions and not letting the stress get to you. Your colleagues notice. They start thinking about how you manage to stay composed, and suddenly you're not just another face in the crowd. You're the person they think about when they need advice or when they're facing their own challenges. That's the power of self-control. It makes you memorable. It makes you influential. And most importantly, it makes them think about you long after the moment has passed. Now let's add a bit of humor, because let's face it, life's too short to be serious all the time. Have you ever tried to stay calm when your favorite sports team is losing? Yeah, that's a true test of self-control, but seriously, in all aspects of life, whether it's handling stress at work, managing conflicts in relationships, or even staying patient in traffic, your ability to maintain self-control sets you apart. It's like having a superpower that others don't, and that's what makes you unforgettable. He who is not a slave to his emotions is the master of his life. This quote hits home because when you master your emotions, you master your interactions. And when you master your interactions, you leave a lasting impression on those around you. People will think about you because they admire your strength, your calmness, and your ability to stay grounded no matter what. Here's a little challenge for you next time you find yourself in a situation that tests your self-control. Take a deep breath, stay calm, and observe how others react. I guarantee you'll notice them thinking about you differently, in a way that's respectful and respectful. And yes, a little bit awed. Remember, self-control isn't about suppressing your emotions. It's about channeling them in a way that empowers you. By mastering this skill, you're not just becoming someone who's thought of, you're becoming someone who's remembered, someone who's respected, and someone who leaves a lasting impact. Go out there, folks, and let your calm, controlled self be the reason they think about you non-stop. And hey, if you're ready to start mastering self-control and make an unforgettable impression, drop a comment below with the words "Calm is my superpower." Let's see who's ready to harness the power of calmness and take that first step toward becoming truly unforgettable. 2. Rational decision making. The key to being unforgettable. So folks, let's move on to our second skill that will make them think about you non-stop, is rational decision making. Now, I know this might sound a bit like we're stepping into the realm of robots and spreadsheets, but stick with me. Rational decision making isn't just about cold logic. It's about making thoughtful, impactful choices that others can't help but notice and admire. It's the kind of skill that makes people see you as a rock in the stormy seas of life. Steady, reliable, and someone they'll keep thinking about long after the conversation ends. As Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. This quote perfectly encapsulates the essence of rational decision-making. When you think clearly, you decide clearly, and those decisions have a ripple effect on the people around you. Imagine you're in a situation where everyone is rushing to make a decision. Maybe it's a big project at work, a family emergency, or even something as simple as choosing a place to eat when everyone is hungry plus angry. Most people might rush, act on impulse, or go with the crowd, but not you. You take a moment to consider the options, weigh the pros and cons, and think about the long-term impact. Your decision isn't just a shot in the dark. It's a calculated move that shows you're not just thinking about the now, you're thinking about the future. And when people see you making smart, thoughtful decisions, they notice. They start to see you as someone they can rely on, someone whose judgment they trust. And trust me, folks, that's the kind of impression that sticks with people. They'll find themselves thinking, I wonder what they would do in this situation. And just like that, you're on their mind. Let's lighten things up a bit. Imagine you're out with friends trying to decide where to eat. Everyone's tossing out ideas, but no one can agree. You step in with a suggestion that takes everyone's preferences into account, and boom, decision made. Everyone's happy. Suddenly, you're not just another friend in the group, you're the one who made the night enjoyable. It sounds simple, but it's the small, rational decisions that make a big impact. And here's the thing. Rational decision-making isn't just about what you do in big, important moments. It's also about the little choices that add up over time, whether it's how you spend your time, how you manage your finances, or even how you approach relationships. Being someone who consistently makes well-thought-out decisions is rare and valuable. It's the kind of thing that makes people keep coming back to you for advice, guidance, and yes, just to be around you because you've got that calm, clear-headed vibe that's hard to find. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. This wisdom reminds us that it's not enough to talk about making good decisions. It's about living them. When you make rational decisions, you're not just benefiting yourself, you're setting an example for others. You become someone they admire, someone they think about when they're faced with tough choices. Your ability to remain rational under pressure makes you memorable because you're the calm in the chaos, the logic in the madness. Here's a little challenge for you. Next time you're faced with a decision, big or small, take a moment to think it through. Consider the impact, not just on yourself, but on those around you. Notice how people react when you choose wisely, and observe how it changes the way they see you. You'll start to notice that they're thinking about you more, not just for your decisions, but for the clarity and confidence you bring into their lives. And hey, if you're ready to start mastering rational decision-making and make an unforgettable impression, drop a comment below with the words, I choose wisely. Let's see who's ready to take control of their choices and become the person everyone turns to when they need clear, rational thinking. 3. Resilience in adversity. The strength that leaves a lasting impression. Folks, let us discuss the third skill that will make them think about you non-stop, is resilience in adversity. Now, resilience might sound like one of those words you hear tossed around a lot, but what does it really mean? And more importantly, how can it make you unforgettable? Buckle up, because we're about to dive into how bouncing back from life's challenges with grace and strength can make you the person they can't stop thinking about. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Seneca, this piece of Stoic wisdom, cuts right to the heart of resilience. Life is full of ups and downs, and how you handle the downs says a lot about who you are. Seneca, imagine this. You're facing a tough situation. Maybe you've just lost a job, gone through a breakup, or hit a major setback in a personal project. Most people would get stuck in the mud, letting the weight of the situation drag them down. But not you. You take a deep breath, pick yourself up, and start moving forward. Even if it's just one small step at a time. That, my friends, is resilience. It's not about avoiding the hardships. It's about how you rise after being knocked down. And here's the kicker. When people see you bounce back from adversity, they remember it. They can't help but think, how do they do it? Your strength becomes a point of admiration, something they reflect on long after the moment has passed. Let's inject a little humor here. Have you ever seen one of those inflatable punching bags that bounce right back up, no matter how hard you hit them? That's resilience in a nutshell. Life might knock you down, but you just keep popping back up. And eventually people start to wonder what you're made of. Spoiler alert, it's grit, determination, and a bit of that Stoic wisdom we love so much. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius. This quote reminds us that obstacles aren't just roadblocks, they're opportunities for growth. When you face adversity head-on, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. You're turning challenges into stepping stones. Marcus Aurelius. And trust me, folks, that kind of attitude is magnetic. It draws people in, makes them think about you in moments of their own struggle, and they find themselves wondering, what would they do in this situation? Imagine this scenario. You're in the middle of a tough project at work. Everything that could go wrong does. Your team is frustrated, the deadline is looming, and the stress is palpable. But instead of crumbling under the pressure, you approach the situation with calm resilience. You take the lead, find solutions, and keep the morale high. When the dust settles, it's your resilience that stands out. Your colleagues remember how you handled the adversity, and that memory lingers, making them think of you not just as a co-worker, but as a leader. Someone who can be counted on when the going gets tough. Resilience isn't just about surviving tough times. It's about showing others that adversity doesn't define you, it refines you. It's about becoming stronger, wiser, and more determined with each challenge you face. And this, my friends, is what makes you truly unforgettable. People don't just remember those who succeed, they remember those who succeed despite the odds. Here's a little challenge for you. Next time life throws a curvy ball your way, embrace it. Show resilience not just for yourself, but for those around you. Let them see that no matter how tough the situation, you're tougher than ever. And notice how they start thinking about you, not just as someone who's been through hard times, but as someone who thrives in them. And hey, if you're ready to start mastering resilience in adversity and make an unforgettable impression, drop a comment below with the words, "I rise stronger." Let's see who's ready to turn life's challenges into their greatest strengths and become the person everyone thinks about when they need a little inspiration. 4. Mindful presence. The power of being fully there. So folks, let us dive into our fourth skill that will make them think about you. Non-stop is mindful presence. Now, I know in today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in distractions. But here's the thing, when you're truly present with someone, it's like giving them a gift that's more valuable than gold. Mindful presence isn't just about being physically there, it's about being mentally and emotionally engaged. And trust me, that's something people don't forget easily. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive. To think, to enjoy, to love. Marcus Aurelius. This quote reminds us of the beauty of each moment. Imagine you're having conversation with someone, and instead of half listening while checking your phone, you're fully engaged. You're not just hearing their words, you're truly understanding them. You're making eye contact, nodding and responding thoughtfully. This kind of presence is rare, and it's what makes people feel truly seen and valued. Let's add a bit of humor here. Think about the last time you were in a conversation and the other person was clearly not paying attention. You probably felt like talking to a wall. But when someone gives you their full attention, it feels amazing, right? That's the feeling you want to leave with others. When you're fully present, you make a lasting impact because they'll remember how you made them feel, and that's powerful. As one of my friends hit the home, the ability to be in the present moment is a major component of mental wellness. By being mindfully present, you're not only enhancing your own well-being, but you're also creating deeper connections with others. They'll think about you long after the interaction because you made them feel important, understood, and appreciated. Here's a little challenge. Next time you're with someone, put away the distractions and give them your full attention. Notice how it changes the dynamic and how they respond. If you're ready to master mindful presence and make an unforgettable impression, drop a comment below with the words, "I'm fully here." Let's see who's ready to be that rare, fully present person in a world full of distractions. 5. Emotional regulation, the secret to staying on their mind. So folks, let us discuss the fifth skill that will make them think about you non-stop, is emotional regulation. Now, don't let the term scare you off. It's not about bottling up your feelings like a soda can. 5. Emotional regulation about to explode. Emotional regulation is all about managing your emotions in a way that enhances your interactions and leaves a lasting positive impression on others. Think of it as being the thermostat in the room. Not too hot, not too cold, but just right. Regardless of what's happening around you, he who controls his emotions controls his life. This quote nails it because, let's be honest, we've all been in situations where emotions run high and it's easy to let them take over. But imagine this. You're in a heated discussion and instead of letting frustration or anger drive your response, you take a deep breath, stay calm and respond thoughtfully. Suddenly, you're not just participating in the conversation, you're controlling its direction. People will remember that. They'll think about how you handled yourself with such poise, and that's the kind of thing that sticks in their mind long after the moment has passed. Emotional regulation doesn't mean you become a robot. It means you're in charge of how you express yourself, whether it's staying composed during a stressful meeting or maintaining a positive attitude when things don't go your way. How you manage your emotions defines how others see you. And trust me, folks, being the person who can stay cool under pressure is a rare and valuable trait that people remember. Here's a little challenge for you. Next time you feel your emotions bubbling up, try to regulate them. Take a moment, breathe, and then respond. Notice how others react when you do, and see how it changes the way they think about you. And if you're ready to start mastering emotional regulation and make an unforgettable impression, drop a comment below with the words, "Calm is my choice." Let's see who's ready to harness the power of their emotions and use it to make themselves truly unforgettable. 6. Virtuous living, the foundation of being unforgettable. So folks, let us discuss the sixth skill that will make them think about you non-stop, is virtuous living. Now, I know virtue might sound like something straight out of an ancient philosophy class, but hang with me here. Virtuous living isn't just about being a goody two-shoes. It's about living in a way that aligns with your highest values, making you someone others respect, admire, and yes, can't stop thinking about. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one Marcus Aurelius. This quote nails it. Virtuous living isn't about talking the talk, it's about walking the walk. Imagine you're in a situation where cutting corners could get you ahead. Most people might take the easy route, but not you. You stick to your principles even when it's tough. And guess what? People notice. They might not say it out loud, but they're thinking, wow, that takes guts. That's the kind of impression that sticks in someone's mind long after the moment has passed. Living with integrity and honor, especially when no one's watching, creates a ripple effect. It's like planting seeds in the minds of those around you. Seeds of trust, respect, and admiration. And those seeds grow, turning into thoughts that pop up whenever your name is mentioned. That person does what's right, no matter what they'll say. And trust me, that's the kind of reputation that makes you unforgettable. So here's a little challenge for you. Next time you're faced with a choice between what's easy and what's right, choose virtue. Notice how it feels to live in alignment with your values and pay attention to how others react. You'll find that virtuous living doesn't just make you feel good, it makes you someone they can't stop thinking about. And hey, if you're ready to embrace virtuous living and make a lasting impression, drop a comment below with the words, "I choose virtue." Let's see who's ready to live with integrity and become truly unforgettable. 7. Acceptance of what is. Embracing reality with grace. So folks, let's dive into our 7th skill that will make them think about you non-stop is acceptance of what is. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Acceptance, does that mean just sitting back and letting life happen to me? Not at all. Acceptance in the Stoic sense is about recognizing reality for what it is, not what you wish it to be. It's about embracing the present moment, no matter how challenging, and finding peace within it. And let me tell you, there's nothing more memorable than someone who faces life's ups and downs with grace and resilience. The obstacle is the way. Marcus Aurelius. This quote is a perfect reminder that sometimes the very challenge we face are the path forward. Imagine you're in a situation where things aren't going your way. Maybe a project at work hits a snag, or a relationship isn't turning out as you hoped. Most people might panic or fight against the situation, but not you. You calmly assess the reality, accept what you can't change, and focus on what you can control. This kind of composure is magnetic. People start to notice your ability to stay calm and focused, and they can't help but think about how you manage to keep such a level head. Here's where the humor comes in. Have you ever tried to control the weather? Yeah, me neither. It's one of those things we just have to accept, right? The same goes for so many aspects of life. By accepting what is rather than fighting against it, you free up your energy to focus on what truly matters. Your response, your actions, and your peace of mind. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Friedrich Nietzsche. When you accept what is, you become stronger, more resilient, and more admirable. People will remember you as someone who doesn't waste energy on resisting reality, but instead focuses on making the best of every situation. Here's a little challenge. Next time life throws a curveball, take a deep breath, accept it for what it is, and focus on what you can do next. Notice how others respond to your calm acceptance and watch as they start to think about how you handle life with such grace. And if you're ready to embrace this powerful skill, drop a comment below with the words, "I accept what is." Let's see who's ready to face reality head-on and make an unforgettable impact through the power of acceptance. 8. Purposeful action. Make every move count. So folks, let's dive into our 8th skill that will make them think about you. Non-stop is purposeful action. Now you might be wondering, what exactly does that mean? Simply put, it's about making every move count. Instead of drifting through life reacting to whatever comes your way, you're taking intentional, deliberate actions that align with your goals and values. And let me tell you, when people see that you live with purpose, it sticks with them. They start to notice how every decision you make seems to have meaning. And they can't help but think about you. Imagine this. You're working on a project, and instead of just doing the bare minimum to get by, you approach every task with intention. You know why you're doing what you're doing, and you're clear on the outcome you want. Your colleagues start to see that you're not just going through the motions, you're moving with purpose. And the kind of energy is magnetic. They start to think, wow, they really know what they're doing. And suddenly you're the one they turn to for advice or inspiration. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus. This Stoic wisdom reminds us that purposeful action isn't about being busy. It's about being intentional. When you align your actions with your goals, you become a force to be reckoned with. Someone who doesn't just float through life, but carves out a path that others can't help but notice. So here's the deal. When you live with purpose, you're not just doing things. You're making an impact. And that impact is what leaves a lasting impression on others, keeping you on their mind long after the interaction is over. Ready to start making your actions count? Drop a comment below with the words, "I move with purpose." Let's see who's ready to take control of their life and make every move memorable. 9. Gratitude for the present. The secret to being unforgettable. So folks, let's talk about the 9th skill that will make them think about you non-stop. Is gratitude for the present. Now I know what you might be thinking. Gratitude, really? How's that going to make me unforgettable? But here's the thing. Gratitude is like a superpower in disguise. It's the simple act of appreciating the here and now, and when you master it, you radiate a positivity that's absolutely magnetic. Imagine this. You're having a conversation with someone, and instead of complaining about what's going wrong or stressing about the future, you focus on the good things happening right now. You express genuine gratitude for the moment, for the opportunity to connect, and for the simple joys of life. Suddenly, you're not just another person. They see you as a breath of fresh air, someone who brings light into their day. They start thinking about you more because you make them feel good, appreciated, and valued. Gratitude turns what we have into enough. This quote is a reminder that when you're grateful for the present, you're not just content, you're powerful. You show others that happiness isn't something to chase after. It's something you create right here, and that's something people remember. They'll find themselves thinking, I wish I could be as content and happy as they are. And just like that, you're living rent-free in their minds. Let's keep it light. Ever notice how much happier dogs are than humans? They're not worrying about tomorrow. They're just happy to be here right now with you. Be the human version of that dog. When you show gratitude for the present, you're living in the moment, and that's contagious. So here's a little challenge for you. Next time you're with someone, take a moment to express gratitude. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. It could be something as simple as saying, I'm really glad we're spending time together. Watch how that simple act of gratitude shifts the energy and leaves a lasting impression. And hey, if you're ready to start practicing gratitude and make yourself unforgettable, drop a comment below with the words "grateful for now." Let's see who's ready to appreciate the present and become the person everyone loves to think about. 10. Emotional intelligence, the secret sauce to being unforgettable. So folks, let's talk about our 10th and final skill, is emotional intelligence. Now, this might just be the secret sauce to making someone think about you non-stop. Why? Because emotional intelligence is all about understanding not just your emotions, but the emotions of others. It's like having a superpower where you can navigate the complex world of feelings with grace and insight, leaving a lasting impression on everyone you interact with. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Epictetus. This Stoic wisdom hits the nail on the head. Imagine this. You're in a heated discussion with a friend or a partner. Emotions are running high and things could easily spiral out of control. But instead of reacting impulsively, you take a moment to understand where they're coming from. You listen, you empathize, and you respond thoughtfully. What happens next? Instead of a fight, there's a deeper connection. They'll remember how you made them feel heard and understood long after the conversation ends. Emotional intelligence isn't just about managing your own emotions. It's about tuning into the emotions of others and using that understanding to build stronger, more meaningful connections. It's the kind of skill that makes people think, wow, they really get me. And that thought lingers. whether it's at work, in friendships, or in romantic relationships. Emotional intelligence makes you stand out as someone who's not just smart, but also deeply human. Here's a challenge for you. Next time you're in a conversation, focus on really listening and understanding the other person's emotions. Notice how it changes the dynamic and how much more connected you feel. And hey, if you're ready to start mastering emotional intelligence and make an unforgettable impression, drop a comment below with the words "I feel you." Let's see who's ready to harness this powerful skill and become someone who's impossible to forget. So there you have it. Folks, 10 powerful Stoic skills that will make them think about you non-stop. These aren't just skills, they're tools to help you become someone unforgettable. Someone who leaves a lasting impression on everyone you meet. Here's what I want you to do. Take one of these skills and start applying it today. Whether it's mastering self-control, making rational decisions, or deepening your emotional intelligence, pick one and make it your focus. And when you do, come back and share your experience in the comments. Let's build a community where we learn from each other and grow together. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Chronic anger triggers the body's fight or flight response, releasing stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. These hormones prepare your body for immediate action, but when they're constantly activated, they can cause serious health problems. High blood pressure, heart disease, and weakened immune function are just a few of the potential consequences. Your body is not designed to handle this constant state of emergency, and over time it takes a toll. Consider the impact on your professional life. Anger can make it difficult to work with others, leading to conflicts with colleagues and supervisors. It can create a hostile work environment where cooperation and collaboration are replaced by tension and confrontation. This not only affects your job performance, but also your career prospects. Employers are less likely to promote someone who is seen as difficult to work with. Your professional reputation can be damaged, limiting your opportunities for growth and advancement. Anger also clouds your judgment. When you're angry, it's hard to think clearly and make rational decisions. You might act impulsively, saying or doing things you later regret. These impulsive actions can have serious consequences, both personally and professionally. Making decisions in the heat of the moment often leads to mistakes and poor outcomes. You might quit a job in a fit of anger, end a relationship abruptly, or make a rash financial decision. The fallout from these decisions can be long-lasting and difficult to reverse. Imagine missing out on important opportunities because of your anger. You might avoid social events, withdraw from relationships, or decline professional opportunities because you're afraid of losing your temper. This isolation can lead to loneliness and a sense of disconnection from the world around you. Anger becomes a barrier that prevents you from experiencing life to the fullest. It limits your potential and keeps you stuck in a cycle of negativity and regret. To break free from the grip of anger, it's essential to understand its root causes. Anger often masks deeper emotions like fear, sadness, and insecurity. By addressing these underlying issues, you can begin to manage your anger more effectively. This might involve seeking therapy, practicing mindfulness, or learning new coping strategies. It's a journey that requires patience and self-compassion, but the rewards are worth it. Imagine a life where you can respond to challenges with calmness and clarity, where your relationships are built on trust and respect, and your decisions are guided by wisdom and insight. This is the life that awaits you when you choose to confront and manage your anger. It's a life of peace, fulfillment, and connection. The first step is recognizing the destructive power of anger and committing to change. As you start to understand the devastating impact of anger on your relationships and professional life, it's essential to recognize how anger can also cloud your judgment and distort your perception of reality. Anger creates a distorted lens through which you view the world. When you're angry, everything seems more significant and more threatening than it actually is. This skewed perspective can lead to misunderstandings and misinterpretations of events and people's intentions. You might perceive a harmless comment as a personal attack or a minor inconvenience as a major setback. This distortion fuels a cycle of anger and resentment, making it difficult to see things clearly and rationally. One of the most insidious effects of anger is how it can warp your sense of reality. Anger can make you see enemies where there are none, turning neutral or even friendly interactions into battles. You start to believe that everyone is against you, that the world is an unfriendly place. This paranoia isolates you further, feeding your anger and creating a self-perpetuating cycle of hostility and mistrust. This distorted perception doesn't just affect how you see others, it also impacts how you see yourself. Anger can make you overly critical and harsh towards yourself. You might blame yourself for things that aren't your fault or hold yourself to impossible standards. This self-criticism erodes your self-esteem and confidence, making it even harder to break free from the grip of anger. Anger can also lead to catastrophic thinking, where you always expect the worst-case scenario. This kind of thinking is exhausting and debilitating. It drains your energy and makes it difficult to enjoy life. Instead of focusing on the positive aspects of your life, you're constantly on edge, waiting for something bad to happen. This constant state of vigilance takes a toll on your mental and physical health, leaving you feeling drained and defeated. Another way anger distorts your reality is by creating a sense of entitlement. When you're angry, you might feel that you're justified in your anger and that others need to accommodate you. This sense of entitlement can lead to unrealistic expectations and demands which only serve to further alienate you from others. When people don't meet your expectations, your anger grows, creating a vicious cycle of disappointment and frustration. In the heat of anger, you might find yourself acting out in ways that you later regret. This impulsivity can have serious consequences. You might say or do things that hurt others, damage your reputation, or create legal problems. Acting out of anger can lead to rash decisions that have long-term repercussions. Once the anger subsides, you're left to deal with the fallout, which can be both emotionally and financially costly. Consider how anger can impact your decision-making abilities. When you're angry, it's hard to think clearly and rationally. Your judgment is clouded, and you might make decisions that you wouldn't normally make if you were calm. These decisions can have serious consequences for your personal and professional life. You might quit a job in a fit of rage, end a relationship abruptly, or make a hasty financial decision. These impulsive actions can create a ripple effect, impacting your future in ways you might not have anticipated. Anger can also hinder your ability to solve problems effectively. When you're angry, your focus is on the problem rather than the solution. You become fixated on what went wrong rather than looking for ways to make it right. This tunnel vision makes it difficult to see alternative solutions and to think creatively. It can also make it hard to collaborate with others, as you're more likely to see them as adversaries rather than allies. The constant state of anger can also make it difficult to experience joy and happiness. When you're always angry, it's hard to appreciate the good things in life. You might find it difficult to enjoy time with loved ones, to relax and have fun, or to take pleasure in your hobbies and interests. This lack of joy and fulfillment can lead to a sense of emptiness and dissatisfaction, making it even harder to break free from the grip of anger. Imagine a life where you're able to see things clearly and rationally, where you're able to respond to challenges with calmness and composure, and where you're able to experience joy and happiness. This is the life that awaits you when you choose to confront and manage your anger. It's a life of clarity, fulfillment, and peace. The first step is recognizing how anger distorts your perception and committing to change. Recognizing these distortions is crucial. The path to a better life starts with understanding how anger manipulates your thoughts and reactions. By gaining awareness, you can begin to challenge these distorted thoughts and replace them with more balanced and rational perspectives. As you work to shift your perception, consider techniques such as mindfulness and cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. Mindfulness helps you stay present, reducing the grip of anger-fueled distortions. CBT, on the other hand, teaches you to identify and reframe negative thoughts, helping you see situations more clearly and respond more appropriately. What's one thing you're grateful for today? How can you carry that feeling into tomorrow? Let me share a quick story about someone who put these daily practices into action. A viewer of this channel, let's call her Linda, wrote to me recently. She told me about how she'd been struggling with a toxic family member who constantly criticized her choices. Every time they spoke, she felt drained and defeated. Linda started using the practices we're talking about today. She began her mornings by reflecting on her intention to stay calm and set clear boundaries. At midday, she checked in with herself, reminding herself not to take the bait. And in the evenings, she reviewed her interactions, celebrating small wins like staying composed during a tense conversation. Over time, Linda told me she felt stronger. The criticism didn't sting as much, and she found herself letting go of the resentment she'd been carrying for years. She even noticed that her calm and consistent boundaries started to shift the dynamic in their relationship. Linda's story is a reminder that Stoicism works, not just in ancient Rome, but here and now, in our everyday lives. Can you relate to Linda's story? What's one small step you can take today to protect your peace? Now that we've explored these strategies and practices, let's take it one step further. I want you to think of your peace as a fortress, your inner fortress. Every wall, gate, and tower represents a different strategy for protecting your well-being. Take a moment to visualize it. The outer walls are your boundaries, keeping negativity at bay. The watchtowers are your daily practices like reflection and gratitude, helping you stay vigilant. The inner sanctum is your self-care, the safe space where you recharge and nurture your resilience. Exercise. Grab a piece of paper or open a note on your phone and sketch or describe your fortress. Label each part with the strategies that resonate most with you. For example, one wall might be labeled the grey rock method, while another is limit exposure. This visualization can help you stay focused and intentional about protecting your peace. I want to leave you with this thought. Stoicism is like a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger you become. And with time, you'll find that the challenges that once seemed overwhelming no longer have the same hold on you. What's one Stoic practice you'll commit to trying this week? How do you think it will impact your day-to-day life? By learning to stop people-pleasing and start respecting your own needs, you take a crucial step toward becoming the master of your own life. Remember, true kindness isn't about sacrificing yourself for others. It's about giving from a place of strength, not obligation. Ask yourself today, am I respecting my own needs? Or am I constantly prioritizing others at my expense? If it's the latter, start small. Say no to one thing that doesn't serve you and notice how it feels. Over time, you'll build the strength and confidence to stand up for yourself without guilt or hesitation. Lesson 2. Cut the constant apologies. Do you catch yourself apologizing for things that don't really require an apology? Maybe you say, "I'm sorry," when someone bumps into you, or you apologize before asking a simple question. While apologizing is important in certain situations, over-apologizing can weaken your confidence and signal to others that you don't value yourself as much as you should. When you constantly apologize, you unintentionally send a message that you're at fault or that your presence is inconvenient. Over time, this habit can undermine your self-respect and cause others to take you less seriously. Apologizing too much also creates an internal belief that you're always in the wrong, which can erode your self-esteem and make it harder to assert yourself. Of course, genuine apologies are necessary when you've made a mistake or hurt someone, but apologizing for things that aren't your fault or for simply existing does more harm than good. Instead of saying, "I'm sorry" out of habit, start practicing assertive communication that respects both you and the person you're speaking to. Here's a simple strategy. The next time you feel the urge to apologize for something minor, pause and ask yourself, is this really something I need to apologize for, or am I just filling the silence? If it's unnecessary, try replacing "I'm sorry" with a more neutral or positive phrase. For example, instead of saying "sorry for bothering you," say "thank you for your time." Instead of "I'm sorry I'm late," say "thank you for waiting." By shifting your language, you maintain respect for the other person without diminishing your own. This small change helps you communicate confidently and reinforces your self-worth. Over-apologizing isn't just about words, it's about mindset. Start paying attention to how often you say sorry in situations where it's not needed, and remind yourself that you have a right to take up space and express your needs without guilt. Assertiveness doesn't mean being rude or dismissive. It means respecting yourself while respecting others. The Stoics believed in controlling what you can and letting go of what you can't. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Constantly apologizing for things outside your control only drains your energy. Instead, focus on what you can control: your words, your actions, and your attitude toward yourself. Ask yourself, am I apologizing because I've done something wrong, or am I apologizing out of habit? If it's the latter, start practicing more assertive communication. Over time, you'll notice a shift not just in how others perceive you, but in how you perceive yourself. You'll feel more confident, more respected, and more in control of your interactions. Remember, cutting out unnecessary apologies doesn't mean ignoring your mistakes. It means valuing yourself enough to know when an apology is truly needed. By doing so, you'll strengthen your self-respect and communicate in a way that reflects your true worth. Lesson 3. Set boundaries and own your space. Have you ever said yes to something you didn't want to do just to avoid conflict or disappointing someone? Or perhaps you felt uncomfortable in a situation, but stayed silent because you didn't want to appear difficult. If so, it's likely that you need to work on setting boundaries, an essential skill for protecting your self-respect. Boundaries are the invisible lines that define what's acceptable and unacceptable in your life. They help you protect your time, energy, and emotional well-being. Without clear boundaries, you end up feeling drained, resentful, and overlooked, because you're constantly giving more than you should. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's an act of self-respect. It shows others that you value yourself and won't tolerate behavior that compromises your well-being. One of the biggest misconceptions about setting boundaries is that it's about pushing people away or being harsh. In reality, boundaries are about mutual respect. Respecting yourself enough to communicate your needs and respecting others enough to be clear with them. Healthy boundaries create stronger, more balanced relationships because they prevent misunderstandings and resentment. Here's a simple way to start. Identify one area in your life where you feel your boundaries are being crossed. It could be at work, with friends, or even with family. Once you've identified it, think about what behavior you're uncomfortable with and how you can assert your boundary in a calm, respectful way. For example, if a colleague regularly interrupts your work with non-urgent requests, you could say, "Canty, I'm happy to help, but I need to finish this task first. Can we discuss it later?" If a friend always expects you to be available, you might say, "I care about you, but I also need time for myself. I won't always be able to say yes." At first, setting boundaries might feel awkward or even scary, especially if you're used to putting others' needs first. But over time, you'll notice something powerful. People will start to respect you more because you respect yourself. Those who genuinely care about you will appreciate your honesty, and those who don't may drift away, making room for healthier relationships. Another important aspect of setting boundaries is learning to say no without guilt. Many people fear that saying no will make them seem rude or unkind, But in reality, saying no when something doesn't serve you is an act of self-care. You don't have to explain or justify your no. Sometimes a simple, polite, "I can't right now" is enough. The Stoics believed in the importance of guarding one's mind and energy. Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly." By setting boundaries, you're creating space for what truly matters in your life. Whether it's personal growth, meaningful relationships, or simply peace of mind, here's something to reflect on. Where in my life am I saying yes when I really want to say no? Choose one instance where you can start practicing boundaries this week. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but remember, setting boundaries is a skill, and like any skill, it gets easier with practice. Remember, you're not responsible for how others react to your boundaries. You're responsible for your own well-being. By setting boundaries and owning your space, you're making a powerful statement. I value myself, and I won't compromise my self-respect for the comfort of others. And that's one of the most important steps you can take toward building lasting self-respect. It's a life where you can build stronger relationships, achieve your goals with confidence, and create a future that reflects your true potential. The next step is to embrace these practices and commit to a path of thoughtful and deliberate decision-making. As you cultivate a life guided by wisdom and thoughtful decision-making, it's crucial to acknowledge how unchecked anger can stifle your creativity and innovation. The Stoic philosopher Seneca believed in the importance of daily reflection. He recommended that at the end of each day, we should take time to review our actions, asking ourselves what we did well, where we fell short, and how we can improve. This kind of reflection isn't about self-criticism or judgment. It's about learning and growing. Seneca wrote, "We should every night call ourselves to account. What infirmity have I mastered today? What passions opposed? What temptation resisted? What virtue acquired?" This practice allows us to continuously refine our character and build confidence from knowing that we are always working to become better versions of ourselves. Through self-reflection, we develop a deeper understanding of who we are, what drives us, and what areas need attention. This clarity is key to building confidence because it gives us a roadmap for personal growth. When you know where your strengths lie and where you need to improve, you can make intentional choices to work on those areas, which boosts your self-assurance. Instead of feeling lost or unsure, you're empowered with the knowledge of how to move forward. Self-reflection also helps us identify patterns in our behavior that may be holding us back. For instance, if you notice that you tend to react defensively in certain situations or avoid taking risks because of fear, you can begin to work on changing those habits. By acknowledging these patterns through reflection, you take the first step toward breaking free from them. Over time, this leads to a greater sense of control over your actions and decisions, which naturally enhances your confidence. One of the key principles of Stoic philosophy is the idea that we should focus on what's within our control and let go of everything else. Self-reflection helps us apply this principle to our daily lives by encouraging us to examine our reactions to the things that happen around us. For example, after a difficult conversation or challenging situation, you might ask yourself, how did I handle that? Did I focus on what I could control? Or did I let my emotions get the better of me? This kind of reflection helps you become more mindful of your reactions and teaches you to respond to life's challenges with greater calm and clarity. Self-reflection is not only about analyzing your actions, but also about examining your thoughts and emotions. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, frequently wrote about the importance of understanding his own mind. He believed that our thoughts shape our experience of life, and that by reflecting on them, we can cultivate a mindset that aligns with our values and goals. Marcus wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By regularly reflecting on your thoughts, you can identify negative patterns, such as self-doubt, fear, or judgment, and work to replace them with more constructive and empowering beliefs. For example, if you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," or "I can't handle this," self-reflection allows you to challenge these thoughts and reframe them. Instead of letting negative thoughts erode your confidence, you can reflect on past experiences where you've succeeded or overcome challenges and remind yourself that you're capable of handling whatever comes your way. This process of reframing negative thoughts is a powerful way to build resilience and self-confidence. Another benefit of self-reflection is that it helps you stay true to your values. The Stoics believed that living in accordance with your values is essential for a fulfilling and confident life. By regularly reflecting on your actions, you can ensure that you're living in alignment with your principles. This might mean asking yourself questions like, did I act with integrity today? Was I kind and just in my interactions with others? Did I stay focused on my goals, or did I get distracted by things that don't matter? This kind of reflection keeps you grounded in your values, which strengthens your confidence because you know you're living authentically. One of the most practical ways to incorporate self-reflection into your daily routine is through journaling. Keeping a journal allows you to track your thoughts, actions, and progress over time. It gives you a space to reflect on your experiences, set goals, and analyze your reactions to life's challenges. Nourishing your mind and body isn't a luxury. It's a necessity for living a balanced, resilient, and meaningful life. When you take care of your body, you're not just enhancing your physical health, you're also supporting your mental clarity, emotional stability, and overall sense of well-being. Exercise, proper nutrition, and rest aren't just physical acts. They directly influence how you feel, think, and respond to life's challenges. Seneca once said, "A sound mind in a sound body is a short but full description of a happy state in this world." The Stoics believed that a disciplined approach to caring for your body was essential for cultivating a strong mind. Nourishing your mind goes beyond simply consuming information. It's about feeding your mind with thoughts, ideas, and practices that promote growth and peace. This means being intentional about what you read, watch, and listen to. It means engaging in practices like mindfulness, meditation, and reflection that help calm your mind and strengthen your ability to focus. Start by asking yourself, what habits do I currently have that nourish my mind and body, and what habits might be draining me? Identifying these patterns is the first step toward creating a lifestyle that supports your well-being. For example, staying up late scrolling through social media might seem harmless, but over time it can disrupt your sleep, drain your energy, and leave your mind cluttered. On the other hand, prioritizing rest, exercise, and quiet time for reflection can have a profound impact on your mood, productivity, and resilience. One of the simplest yet most powerful ways to nourish your body is through movement. This doesn't have to mean intense workouts at the gym. It could be a morning walk, stretching, or any form of physical activity that gets your blood flowing and your energy levels up. Regular movement not only improves your physical health, but also releases endorphins, which boost your mood and reduce stress. Equally important is nutrition. The food you consume is the fuel your body and mind run on. Eating a balanced diet, rich in whole, unprocessed foods, provides your brain with the nutrients it needs to function at its best. It's not about being perfect with your diet. It's about making small, consistent choices that support your long-term health. When it comes to nourishing your mind, quiet time and reflection are key. In a world filled with constant noise and distractions, taking time each day to be still, whether through meditation, journaling, or simply sitting quietly, helps clear your mind and strengthens your ability to stay present. These moments of stillness allow you to process your thoughts, release tension, and reconnect with what truly matters. Here's something practical you can do. Each day, commit to one small act that nourishes your mind and one that nourishes your body. It could be as simple as reading a chapter of a book that inspires you, practicing deep breathing for 5 minutes, or preparing a healthy meal. Over time, these small acts compound, creating a lifestyle that supports your well-being. Ask yourself, am I treating my mind and body with the respect they deserve? If not, start today. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's what allows you to show up fully in life for both yourself and those you care about. In the end, your mind and body are your most valuable assets. When you nourish them consistently, you cultivate a life of strength, clarity, and inner peace. You equip yourself to handle life's challenges with resilience and grace. By making your well-being a priority, you don't just live, you thrive. And that's when life truly becomes rich, meaningful, and deeply fulfilling. Letting go isn't about giving up. It's about creating space for something better. It's about freeing yourself from the weight of what no longer serves you, whether it's people, situations, habits, or even outdated versions of yourself. When you let go of what holds you back, you gain clarity, peace, and the ability to move forward with intention. In this episode, we explored 12 powerful lessons on how to let go and create a life of greater balance and fulfillment. From unlocking the power of detachment to nourishing your mind and body, each lesson offers a practical way to reclaim your energy and refocus on what truly matters. Life is filled with constant change, but by learning to let go with grace and strength, you empower yourself to face those changes without fear. Why does this matter? Because clinging too tightly to people, expectations, or even past versions of ourselves only leads to frustration and suffering. But when you learn to let go, you discover a deeper sense of freedom and inner peace. You stop being a prisoner to what's beyond your control and start living with greater purpose and presence. Here's something to reflect on. What is one thing I'm ready to let go of today? It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. It could be a small thought, a minor frustration, or an unnecessary habit. Every small step toward letting go creates a ripple effect, helping you cultivate a life that feels lighter, freer, and more aligned with your values. Remember, letting go is a practice, not a one-time event. It takes courage, patience, and self-compassion. But with each quiet release, you make room for growth, connection, and a life of greater joy. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Did you know that some people in your life might be subtly draining your energy or causing you harm, even without you realizing it? In today's world, where toxic behaviors are often hidden behind charming facades, it's crucial to recognize the signs of truly harmful individuals. This video will explore 10 specific signs that you might be dealing with a truly evil person and how Stoic wisdom can help you protect your peace and navigate these toxic relationships. These are insights I've personally tested and integrated into my own life, and they've helped me build stronger boundaries and a more resilient mindset. Grab your journal, get comfortable, and let's dive into these transformative insights. Stick around as I'll share actionable steps and personal stories to help you spot and handle harmful people with wisdom and grace. Without further ado, let's get started and uncover the secrets to identifying truly toxic individuals and protecting your inner peace. Number 1, they take pleasure in others' failures. This behavior stems from envy and insecurity. People who take pleasure in others' failures see your success as a threat. They may think that if you rise, it somehow diminishes their own worth. It's almost as if they're keeping score and your wins feel like points against them. Instead of celebrating your achievements, they silently root for your downfall. And sometimes they go a step further by actively sabotaging your efforts, whether it's spreading rumors, giving bad advice, or creating obstacles that make it harder for you to succeed. From a Stoic perspective, this is a clear sign of a mind in turmoil. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Their joy in your missteps reflects a lack of control over their own thoughts and emotions. Instead of focusing on their own growth, they fixate on bringing others down. It's important to remember that their negativity is not about you. It's a projection of their own dissatisfaction with life. Let me share an example. Imagine working on a group project, and you pour your heart into it. The moment you share the final results, someone in the group points out flaws, not to improve the work, but to diminish your contribution. They might laugh at mistakes, question your ideas, or even imply that you were just lucky if things went well. You may not see it immediately, but over time their pattern becomes clear. They're not offering constructive feedback. They're trying to chip away at your confidence. Transcription. So how do we respond? Stoicism offers us a path. Instead of reacting with anger or frustration, we can focus on our inner fortitude. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." In this case, their craving for superiority over others reveals their poverty of spirit. By refusing to engage in their negativity, you protect your peace and keep your energy directed toward your own goals. You might also notice these individuals lurking when life throws you a curveball. Perhaps you've faced a setback like losing a job or struggling in a relationship, and instead of offering support, they seem oddly content. They may even exaggerate your situation when talking to others, turning your challenges into gossip. Stoicism teaches us to view such people with compassion, not resentment. Epictetus reminds us, when someone behaves badly toward you, remember that he is acting in accordance with his own understanding. Their joy in your struggles is a reflection of their flawed perspective, not a measure of your worth. Picture yourself as a steady rock in the middle of a storm. Their negativity might swirl around you, but it doesn't have to move you. Negative energy often manifests in subtle but persistent ways. For instance, you might notice how this person thrives on gossip, turning every conversation into a critique of others. Or perhaps they're always playing the victim, recounting stories where they've been wronged without ever taking accountability. Being around them can feel like stepping into quicksand. The longer you stay, the harder it is to maintain your own positivity. In moments like these, Stoic wisdom teaches us to set boundaries, both emotional and physical. Epictetus said, "Keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." This doesn't mean avoiding every difficult person, but it does mean being mindful of how much energy you invest in these interactions. If someone's negativity is weighing on you, it's okay to limit your exposure or even politely excuse yourself from their company. Sometimes this negativity isn't directed at you, but still affects the environment. Imagine a friend who constantly complains about their circumstances, how unfair life is, how others have it better, how nothing ever goes their way. While you may empathize with their struggles, the unrelenting stream of pessimism can feel like a heavy weight on your shoulders. Stoicism teaches us to approach such situations with compassion, but also with discernment. Marcus Aurelius said, "You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you. Listen if you can, but don't absorb their energy as your own." What's important to remember is that people emitting negative energy are often struggling internally. Their negativity is a reflection of their own unresolved issues, fears, or dissatisfaction. While Stoicism doesn't encourage us to judge or condemn them, it does remind us to protect our own peace. Practicing gratitude, mindfulness, and focusing on our own inner virtues can act as a shield against their energy. Number 3, they are chronic liars. One thing about chronic liars is how convincing they can be. Imagine someone telling you a detailed story about a vacation they never took. They described the beaches, the food, and even the people they met. It sounds so vivid that you'd never think to question it. Later, you find out it was all fabricated. The worst part, they didn't gain anything from the lie. It was purely to impress or manipulate. For someone rooted in Stoic principles, this kind of dishonesty is unsettling because it runs counter to the virtue of truthfulness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This is a reminder to value honesty, even when others don't. Chronic liars are often skilled at justifying their behavior. They might say things like, "I didn't want to hurt anyone," or "It's not a big deal." but over time their lies can cause serious harm. Think about trusting someone with important information, only to realize later that they twisted your words to serve their agenda. For instance, you might confide in someone about a personal struggle, and they turn around and use it as gossip to gain sympathy or attention. Learn that betrayal stings deeply because it violates the trust you placed in them. Stoicism offers guidance in how to respond to such situations. Epictetus taught that while we cannot control others' actions, we can control our reactions. When dealing with chronic liars, it's important to protect your inner peace. Recognize their behavior for what it is, a sign of their own insecurity or lack of integrity, and don't allow it to derail your values. As Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Another aspect of chronic lying is how it can make you question your own instincts. You may start to wonder if you're overreacting or misjudging them. This self-doubt is exactly what liars rely on to maintain control. They thrive in the gray areas where facts are blurred and reality is hard to pin down. In their world, accountability is for everyone else. Stoicism teaches us that strength lies in self-awareness and accountability. Marcus Aurelius said, "If anyone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake in any thought or action, I shall gladly change. I seek the truth which never harmed anyone." The courage to admit mistakes is what separates the truly strong from those who merely pretend. Their illusion of perfection often extends to their personal life as well. On social media, for instance, they might present an idealized version of themselves. Flawless photos, luxurious lifestyles, and carefully curated moments of joy. While there's nothing wrong with sharing highlights, these individuals use it as a tool to maintain the illusion of perfection. Behind the scenes, however, their relationships might be fraught with tension, or their confidence might be deeply fragile. The Stoics would remind us not to be deceived by appearances. Epictetus taught appearances are of four kinds. Things either are as they appear, or they neither are nor appear to be, or they are and do not appear to be, or they are not and yet appear to be. Learning to discern reality from the facade protects us from getting caught up in their performance. Their behavior often includes subtle ways of putting others down to elevate themselves. For instance, they might constantly critique others' work, choices, or lifestyles, always positioning themselves as the standard of excellence. Imagine sharing a personal accomplishment only to have them say, "Well, that's great, but I would have done it this way," as if their way is inherently superior. Over time, these interactions can make you feel like you're always falling short. Stoicism reminds us not to measure ourselves by others' standards. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Don't be overheard complaining, not even to yourself." Instead of internalizing their critiques, focus on your own growth and values. Another hallmark of someone pretending to be perfect is their need to control narratives. They're often the first to share their version of events, ensuring they come out looking blameless. For example, in a disagreement, they might quickly tell others their side of the story, framing themselves as the victim or hero before you've even had a chance to explain. This tactic ensures they maintain their perfect image, even at the cost of others. In such moments, Stoic wisdom advises us to remain calm and let the truth reveal itself over time. As Seneca said, time discovers truth. The more they try to manipulate perceptions, the more apparent their dishonesty becomes. Their unwillingness to show vulnerability is a sign of their weakness, is another clear sign. Vulnerability requires courage. It means admitting you don't have all the answers or that you've made a mistake. For someone pretending to be perfect, this is unthinkable. They'll avoid difficult conversations, downplay their struggles, and refuse to ask for help, all to maintain their flawless image. But Stoicism celebrates vulnerability as a strength Epictetus taught. It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. By admitting our limitations, we open ourselves to growth and connection, something those who pretend to be perfect often miss out on. Number 5. They hide their true selves. Some people are like shapeshifters, constantly changing their behavior depending on who they're with or what they want. On the surface, they might seem adaptable or charming, but underneath it all they're hiding who they really are. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Pay attention to how someone behaves over time, not just the persona they project. They also have a habit of mirroring others to gain acceptance. For example, they might adopt your interests, mimic your mannerisms, or agree with everything you say to appear likable. While it can feel flattering at first, it eventually feels unsettling because it lacks sincerity. Stoicism reminds us that true connection comes from being real, not from pretending to be someone else. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Do not act as if you were going to live tens of years. Death hangs over you." Many Stoic philosophers, including Marcus Aurelius, used journaling as a way to practice self-reflection and gain insight into their inner lives. By writing down your reflections each day, you create a record of your growth and a tool for continuous self-improvement. Let's consider an example of how self-reflection can boost confidence. Imagine you're preparing for an important presentation at work. In the days leading up to it, you feel anxious and unsure of yourself. Instead of letting those feelings undermine your confidence, you take time to reflect. You ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What's the worst that could happen? What have I done in the past that prepared me for this? Through this process, you realize that you've successfully given presentations before and that your preparation has set you up for success. This self-reflection not only calms your nerves, but also reinforces your belief in your own abilities. In conclusion, practicing self-reflection is a crucial Stoic lesson for boosting confidence. By regularly examining your thoughts, actions, and emotions, you gain valuable insights into your strengths and weaknesses, which helps you grow and improve. Self-reflection also helps you stay aligned with your values, break negative patterns, and cultivate a mindset that fosters confidence and resilience. Through daily reflection, whether through journaling or simply taking time to think, you can build a deep sense of self-assurance that will guide you through life's challenges. Resilience is one of the most essential qualities for navigating life's challenges with confidence, and it is a central concept in Stoic philosophy. Life is full of obstacles, setbacks, and unexpected events, but how we respond to these challenges determines whether we become stronger or feel defeated. The Stoics teach us that true resilience comes from focusing on what we can control and accepting what we cannot. Epictetus reminds us it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This Stoic teaching is at the heart of resilience. While we cannot always control the circumstances we face, whether it's a personal failure, a health issue, or a difficult relationship, Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. We have complete control over how we respond. By choosing to view challenges as opportunities for growth rather than as insurmountable problems, we build the mental and emotional strength to face adversity with confidence. Building resilience means cultivating the ability to bounce back from difficulties. It's not about avoiding pain or discomfort, but learning to endure them with grace and clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This powerful Stoic principle teaches us that obstacles are not meant to be avoided, but embraced as part of our journey. Each challenge we face provides an opportunity to develop our resilience, grow stronger, and become more confident in our ability to handle future difficulties. Consider a common situation in which resilience is necessary: losing a job. For many, this experience can be overwhelming and lead to feelings of failure, self-doubt, and fear about the future. However, through the lens of Stoicism, losing a job can be seen not as a failure, but as an opportunity for growth and reinvention. The Stoics would advise us to focus on what we can control, our next steps, how we use our time and our mindset, rather than dwelling on the loss itself. By approaching the situation with resilience, we can turn what seems like a setback into a new beginning. Another key aspect of building resilience is accepting that life is unpredictable. The Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils, which involves mentally preparing for worst-case scenarios. By considering what could go wrong, Stoics were better equipped to handle challenges with composure when they arose. This practice doesn't mean dwelling on negativity, but rather acknowledging that hardships are a natural part of life. When you mentally prepare for adversity, you're less likely to be caught off guard and more likely to respond with resilience when difficulties arise. Let's take the example of someone training for a marathon. They know that along the way they will face physical fatigue, injury, or moments of doubt. Instead of fearing these obstacles, they anticipate them and develop strategies to overcome them. Whether it's through physical conditioning, mental toughness, or learning to pace themselves. This is resilience in action. By preparing for challenges and accepting them as part of the process, they build the strength to push through when things get tough. The same principle applies to life. When we build resilience by accepting that setbacks are inevitable, we gain the confidence to face them head-on. Resilience is also about maintaining a positive mindset in the face of adversity. The Stoics believed that our perception of events shapes our experience of them. Seneca said, "A man is as miserable as he thinks he is." This highlights the power of our thoughts in shaping our reality. When we view challenges as insurmountable, we feel overwhelmed and defeated. But when we see them as opportunities for growth, we approach them with a sense of purpose and resilience. By choosing to maintain a positive outlook, even in difficult times, we build the mental toughness needed to overcome adversity. In addition to mental resilience, the Stoics emphasize the importance of emotional resilience. Life's challenges can trigger a range of emotions: anger, sadness, frustration, or fear. While it's natural to feel these emotions, the Stoics teach us not to let them control our actions. Epictetus advised, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." This means focusing on what you can do and accepting what you cannot change. Emotional resilience involves acknowledging your feelings, but not allowing them to dictate your response. By practicing emotional self-control, you build the resilience to face challenges with calm and clarity. Let's consider a real-life example of resilience. Think about someone who has faced a major setback, such as a serious illness or the loss of a loved one. While these experiences are incredibly painful, those who practice resilience are able to move forward by focusing on what they can control, whether it's taking care of their health, finding support from loved ones, or adjusting to their new reality. This doesn't mean ignoring the pain, but rather accepting it as part of life's journey and using it as fuel to become stronger and more resilient. In conclusion, building resilience is a fundamental Stoic lesson for boosting confidence. Life will inevitably bring challenges, but it's how we respond to those challenges that determines our strength and growth. By focusing on what we can control, accepting adversity as part of life, and maintaining a positive mindset, we can develop the resilience needed to face difficulties with confidence. The Stoics remind us that every obstacle is an opportunity for growth, and by embracing this mindset, we can build the inner strength to handle whatever life throws our way. Embracing this journey means being open to learning, adapting, and evolving as we gain more experiences. It's about recognizing that wisdom isn't static. It deepens and expands as we continue to engage with the world and reflect on our interactions. Moreover, embracing the long-term journey aligns with the Stoic practice of focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we cannot. This isn't about resignation, but about empowerment. It frees us from the unnecessary stress of trying to control the uncontrollable and allows us to invest our energy in actions and attitudes that truly enrich our lives and the lives of those around us. In practical terms, this might mean choosing to invest time in relationships that are nurturing and supportive, pursuing careers that align with our values, or dedicating ourselves to causes that we believe in. Each choice is a brick in the foundation of a life well lived, a life that reflects our deepest convictions and highest aspirations. Thank you all for joining me today in exploring these Stoic principles. Remember, the journey is long, but each step is a chance to reinforce who we are and what we stand for. When two things occur successively, we call them cause and effect if we believe one event made the other one happen. If we think one event is the response to the other, we call it a reaction. If we feel that the two incidents are not related, we call it a mere coincidence. If we think someone deserved what happened, we call it a retribution or reward, depending on whether the event was negative or positive for the recipient. If we cannot find a reason for the two events occurring simultaneously or in close proximity, we call it an accident. Therefore, how we explain coincidences depends on how we see the world. Is everything connected so that events create resonances like ripples across a net? Or do things merely co-occur and we give meaning to these co-occurrences based on our belief system? Latizu's answer: it's all in how you think. When meditation is mastered, the mind is unwavering like the flame of a lamp in a windless place. In the still mind, in the depths of meditation, the self reveals itself. Beholding the self by means of the self, an aspirant knows the joy and peace of complete fulfillment. Having attained that abiding joy beyond the senses, revealed in the stilled mind, he never swerves from the eternal truth. You have the right to work, but for the work's sake only. You have no rights to the fruits of work. Desire for the fruits of work must never be your motive in working. Never give way to laziness either. Perform every action with your heart fixed on the Supreme Lord. Renounce attachment to the fruits. Be even-tempered in success and failure. For it is this evenness of temper which is meant by yoga. Work done with anxiety about results is far inferior to the work done without such anxiety. In the calm of self-surrender, seek refuge in the knowledge of Brahma. They who work selfishly for results are miserable. In this world, three gates lead to hell: the gates of passion, anger, and greed. Released from these three qualities, one can succeed in attaining salvation and reaching the highest goal. You are what you believe in. You become that which you believe you can become. Man is made by his belief. As he believes, so he is. Seek refuge in the attitude of detachment, and you will amass the wealth of spiritual awareness. The one who is motivated only by desire for the fruits of their action and anxious about the results is miserable indeed. When a man dwells on the pleasure of sense, attraction for them arises in him. From attraction arises desire, the lust of possession, and this leads to passion, to anger. From passion comes confusion of the mind, then loss of remembrance, the forgetting of duty. From this loss comes the ruin of reason, and the ruin of reason leads man to destruction. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the truths and realities of your existence, the bliss of growth, the glory of action, and the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today well lived makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well therefore to this day. Such is the salvation of the dawn. The soul who meditates on the self is content to serve the self and rests satisfied within the self. There remains nothing more for him to accomplish. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus is untouched by water. One who has control over the mind is tranquil in heat and cold, in pain and pleasure, and in honor and dishonor, and is ever steadfast with the Supreme Self. One should strive to employ oneself to uplift oneself. One should never dishonor oneself. The self is one's friend as well as one's enemy. It is both near and far, both within and without every creature. It moves and is unmoving. In its subtlety, it is beyond comprehension. It is invisible, yet appears divided in separate creatures. Know it to be the creator, the preserver, and the destroyer. Dwelling in every heart, it is beyond darkness. It is called the light of the lights, the object and goal of knowledge, and knowledge itself. It is better to strive in one's own dharma than in another's, than to succeed in the dharma of another. Nothing is ever lost in following one's own dharma, but competition in another's dharma breeds fear and insecurity. For him who has no concentration, there is no tranquility. Death is as sure for that which is born as birth is for that which is dead. Therefore grieve not for what is inevitable. Delusion arises from anger. The mind is bewildered by delusion. Reasoning is destroyed when the mind is bewildered. One falls down when reasoning is destroyed. Endurance is one of the most difficult disciplines, but it is to the one who endures that the final victory comes. Let us rise up and be thankful. For if we didn't learn a lot, at least we learned a little. And if we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. And if we got sick, at least we didn't die. So let us be thankful. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. It is founded on our thoughts and made up of our thoughts. If a man speaks or acts with an evil thought, suffering follows him, as the wheel follows the hoof of the beast that draws the wagon. If a man speaks or acts with a good thought, happiness follows him like a shadow that never leaves. Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. One moment can change a day. One day can change a life, and one life can change the world. Be where you are, otherwise you will miss your life. Kindness should be the natural way of life, not the exception. It is better to travel well than to arrive. To live a pure, unselfish life, one must count nothing as one's own in the midst of abundance. Whatever a monk keeps pursuing with his thinking and pondering, that becomes the inclination of his awareness. A man is not called wise because he talks and talks again. But if he is peaceful, loving, and fearless, then he is in truth called wise. You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger. Just as the great ocean has one taste, the taste of salt is another. So also this teaching and discipline has one taste, the taste of liberation. The root of suffering is attachment. Your work is to discover your world, and then, with all your heart, give yourself to it. There is no fire like passion. There is no shark like hatred. There is no snare like folly. There is no torrent like greed. Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. Happiness will never come to those who fail to appreciate what they already have. What you are basically deep down, far in, is simply the fabric and structure of existence itself. I have realized that the past and the future are real illusions, that they exist in the present, which is what there is and all there is. You are a function of what the whole universe is doing, in the same way that a wave is a function of what the whole ocean is doing. Man is made by his belief. As he believes, so he is. Seek refuge in the attitude of detachment, and you will amass the wealth of spiritual awareness. The one who is motivated only by desire for the fruits of their action and anxious about the results is miserable indeed. When a man dwells on the pleasure of sense, attraction for them arises in him. From attraction arises desire, the lust of possession, and this leads to passion, to anger. From passion comes confusion of the mind, then loss of remembrance, the forgetting of duty. From this loss comes the ruin of reason, and the ruin of reason leads man to destruction. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the truths and realities of your existence, the bliss of growth, the glory of action, and the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today well lived makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well therefore to this day, such is the salvation of the dawn. The soul who meditates on the self is content to serve the self and rests satisfied within the self. There remains nothing more for him to accomplish. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus is untouched by water. One who has control over the mind is tranquil in heat and cold, in pain and pleasure, and in honor and dishonor, and is ever steadfast with the Supreme Self. One should strive to employ oneself to uplift oneself. One should never dishonor oneself. The self is one's friend as well as one's enemy. It is both near and far, both within and without every creature. It moves and is unmoving. In its subtlety it is beyond comprehension. It is invisible, yet appears divided in separate creatures. Know it to be the creator, the preserver, and the destroyer. Dwelling in every heart, it is beyond darkness. It is called the light of the lights, the object and goal of knowledge, and knowledge itself. It is better to strive in one's own dharma than in another's, than to succeed in the dharma of another. Nothing is ever lost in following one's own dharma, but competition in another's dharma breeds fear and insecurity. Stoic planning also means revisiting and adjusting your plans as needed. It's about being flexible and adaptable, not rigidly attached to one path. Life is unpredictable, and our plans must be dynamic enough to accommodate changes. This adaptability is a key virtue in Stoicism, allowing us to maintain our composure and purpose even when external conditions shift. Building resilience through Stoic persistence. Persistence is a core virtue in Stoicism, and it's something that truly comes to life when we're tested by the trials and tribulations of our daily lives. Stoic persistence isn't about blind stubbornness or merely gritting your teeth and bearing it. It's about maintaining your course despite the challenges, knowing why you're enduring, and understanding the greater purpose behind your actions. Imagine you're working on a long-term project, something that's close to your heart, like writing a book, perhaps. The initial excitement gets you started, the ideas flow, and the pages begin to fill. But then, as often happens, the momentum slows. You face writer's block, criticism, or other distractions. This is where Stoic persistence shines. It's not about pushing through mindlessly, but about returning to your desk day after day, realigning yourself with your goal of completing that book, and reminding yourself why it matters to you. This form of persistence is deeply philosophical. It draws from the Stoic belief that our actions must be purposeful and aligned with our virtues. When you persist with a task, it's not just about finishing what you started. It's about embodying the virtues of discipline, resilience, and courage. These aren't just abstract qualities, but practical tools that guide your actions. For instance, discipline helps you set and stick to a daily writing schedule. Resilience allows you to bounce back from setbacks, and courage lets you share your writing with the world despite the fear of judgment. Moreover, Stoic persistence teaches us to focus on the process rather than the outcome. This shift in focus is powerful. Think about training for a marathon. If you fixate only on the finish line, the training can become a daunting, overwhelming task. But if you focus on each run, each step you take, and find joy in the improvement of your endurance and skill, the process becomes more fulfilling. The goal remains important, but it is the day-to-day persistence that will get you there, and that becomes rewarding in itself. This approach can be applied to overcoming personal struggles as well. Whether you're dealing with a tough job, a challenging relationship, or personal health issues, the Stoic way isn't to simply hang in there, but to actively engage with a situation with wisdom and virtue. It's about asking yourself, what can this situation teach me? How can I grow from this? This mindset transforms obstacles into opportunities, turning the trials we endure into chances to reinforce our character and deepen our understanding of life. And remember, Stoic persistence isn't a solitary journey. While the philosophy teaches self-reliance, it also values community and support. Sharing your struggles, seeking advice, and learning from others are all part of the Stoic path. By doing so, you not only reinforce your own resilience, but also contribute to the resilience of others. Enhancing self-leadership with Stoic reflection, reflecting on one's own actions and decisions through the lens of Stoic principles, offers a transformative perspective on integrity and self-leadership. This form of reflection isn't just an idle pastime. It's an active, purposeful practice that shapes how we view ourselves and how we interact with the world around us. Stoicism teaches us that integrity is not merely about being honest or morally upright. It's about consistency between what we believe, say, and do. It's about aligning our inner virtues with our outward actions. Imagine you're facing a typical day with its usual pressures and temptations to take shortcuts or make compromises. Here, Stoic reflection becomes a vital tool. It allows you to pause and ask yourself, am I acting according to my principles? Am I treating others as I would like to be treated? This isn't about judging yourself harshly or aiming for perfection, but about striving for personal congruence. When you reflect on your day through a Stoic lens, you focus on areas where you were able to maintain your integrity and also on moments where you might have faltered. This isn't to dwell on the mistakes, but to understand them and learn how to improve. Self-leadership, another key aspect of Stoic philosophy, involves leading oneself with as much dedication and discipline as one would lead others. It's about self-regulation and self-motivation. Consider the discipline required to maintain healthy habits or to work steadily towards personal goals. Stoics are known for their emphasis on controlling reactions to external circumstances. When you find yourself in a stressful situation, whether it's at work or in personal relationships, the practice of reflecting on your responses helps you remain composed and responsive rather than reactive. You learn to ask yourself, is my response proportionate to the situation? Am I letting external factors dictate my mood and behavior? This mindful awareness is a form of self-leadership because it puts you in control of your inner state, not the circumstances. Moreover, Stoic reflection fosters a sense of personal accountability. It reminds us that while we may not control external events, we have full control over our values and commitments. When you reflect on your actions and their alignment with Stoic virtues such as wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation, you are effectively taking stock of your moral and ethical framework. This daily inventory helps ensure that you are living in a way that not only brings personal satisfaction, but also contributes positively to those around you. In practicing these reflections, we not only affirm our commitment to living virtuously, but also enhance our capability to lead ourselves with integrity. We become role models not by preaching virtues, but by practicing them. Each act of reflection deepens our understanding and our ability to apply Stoic principles to modern life. Embracing the long-term journey. As we wrap up our discussion today, it's important to remember that embracing the long-term journey of life is fundamental to practicing Stoicism. This philosophy isn't about quick fixes or instant gratification. It's about viewing each experience, challenge, and decision with a new perspective. As part of a broader narrative that shapes who we are and who we become, this perspective helps us see beyond the immediacy of our desires or discomforts, focusing instead on enduring principles and long-lasting fulfillment. Stoicism teaches us the value of patience and the importance of viewing life as a continuum, not a series of disconnected events. When we adopt this long-view philosophy, our daily hassles and hurdles begin to seem less daunting. This is because we're no longer just reacting to life as it happens. We're actively weaving a rich tapestry that represents our lived philosophy. Every thread, be it a challenge overcome or a lesson learned, adds depth and color to the overall picture. Consider how this approach transforms our understanding of success and failure. In the Stoic view, what matters isn't just the outcome, but the process, the manner in which we pursue our goals and handle setbacks. By focusing on the long term, we learn not to be overly elated by success or unduly discouraged by failure. Instead, we come to appreciate each step of our journey as an opportunity to practice virtue, to grow and to refine our character. This long-term journey also encourages us to remain humble and teachable. Stoicism doesn't claim to have all the answers, but instead offers tools to help us navigate life with wisdom and dignity. Embracing this journey means being open to learning, adapting and evolving as we gain more experiences. It's about recognizing that wisdom isn't static. It deepens and expands as we continue to engage with the world and reflect on our interactions. Moreover, embracing the long-term journey aligns with the Stoic practice of focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we cannot. This isn't about resignation, but about empowerment. It frees us from the unnecessary stress of trying to control the uncontrollable and allows us to invest our energy in actions and attitudes that truly enrich our lives and the lives of those around us. In practical terms, this might mean choosing to invest time in relationships that are nurturing and supportive, pursuing careers that align with our values, or dedicating ourselves to causes that we believe in. Each choice is a brick in the foundation of a life well lived, a life that reflects our deepest convictions and highest aspirations. Thank you all for joining me today in exploring these Stoic principles. Remember, the journey is long, but each step is a chance to reinforce who we are and what we stand for. By adopting a Stoic mindset, we learn not only to withstand the trials of life, but to approach them in a way that enhances our understanding of ourselves and our capabilities. Habit 3. The power of choice. Now that we understand that our emotions stem from our judgments and not the events themselves, let's delve into the profound Stoic principle of choice. This isn't about choosing what happens to us, that's often beyond our control, but choosing our response. And believe it or not, in that choice lies our freedom and power. The Stoics teach us that between the stimulus and the response there is a space. In this space lies our power to choose our response. This idea is incredibly empowering. It means that no matter what life throws at us, we have the last say on how we respond. Whether it's a rude comment, a financial setback, or a personal loss, our emotional response is ours to choose. Think about it this way. Life is like a complex dance. Events come at us in quick succession, and our emotions can react just as quickly. But like a skilled dancer who decides which steps to take on the dance floor, we can choose how to move with, around, or away from our emotional impulses. This doesn't mean ignoring our feelings. Rather, it's about acknowledging them and deciding the best course of action that aligns with our values and long-term goals. The key to making this practical is to develop what the Stoics called prosopsis, or mindful attention. It's about being aware in the present moment, recognizing our emotional triggers as they arise, and consciously deciding how we'll respond. By practicing mindfulness, we can widen that space between stimulus and response, giving us the time to choose our actions wisely. This power of choice is what enabled Stoic philosophers like Seneca to remain tranquil in times of extreme stress. Seneca suggested that we should rehearse worst-case scenarios in our minds, not to dwell on them, but to diminish the intensity of our reactions when faced with actual challenges. By doing so, we become less reactive and more responsive. Moreover, embracing this Stoic approach helps us build resilience. Resilience doesn't come from avoiding challenges, but from facing them with clarity and determination. Every time we choose a response that keeps us aligned with our goals, we strengthen our ability to handle future challenges more effectively. Habit 4. Techniques for action over emotion. As we delve deeper into the Stoic practice, it becomes clear that knowing you have a choice isn't enough. You need effective strategies to exercise that choice wisely. Here are some time-tested techniques drawn from Stoic wisdom that can help you choose your actions over your emotions, turning potential turmoil into triumph. One pivotal technique involves the simple yet powerful act of pausing when an emotion flares up. Imagine you're in a heated discussion. Instead of immediately reacting, give yourself a moment. This pause is a buffer, giving your rational mind time to wake up and process the situation. During this brief interlude, you can assess the emotion. Is it anger, frustration, fear? Acknowledging what you feel can diminish its overwhelming power, allowing you to respond rather than react. Another Stoic strategy is to reframe your thoughts about the situation. This cognitive reframing involves shifting your perspective to see the event differently. If someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of getting angry and assuming malicious intent, you might consider other explanations. Perhaps they're rushing to an emergency. Changing your narrative about the event can change your emotional response to it, helping you maintain your composure and perhaps even empathize with the other person. Values-based decision-making is another cornerstone of Stoic practice. Here you make decisions based on your core values, not fleeting emotions. Ask yourself, does reacting with anger align with my values? What would the best version of myself do in this situation? By aligning your actions with your values, you ensure that your responses contribute to the person you aspire to be, rather than a momentary emotional state. Emotional acceptance is crucial too. This doesn't mean resigning yourself to feeling bad. It means accepting that you're feeling a certain way without judgment or immediate reaction. Acceptance allows you to understand your emotions better and manage them proactively. It's like observing the clouds as they pass by in the sky. Notice them, but don't get carried away by the storm. Each of these techniques isn't just about handling a particular emotional moment. They are about cultivating a life where you consistently choose actions that reflect your rational and reasoned decisions. Practicing these techniques regularly can turn them into habits, fundamentally changing how you interact with your emotions and the world. As you integrate these practices into your daily life, you'll find that not only do your emotional responses become more balanced, but your overall sense of well-being improves, allowing you to live more fully in alignment with your Stoic principles. Habit 5. Benefits of choosing actions over emotions. When we choose our actions consciously, aligning them with rational thought rather than fleeting emotions, we cultivate an inner stability that is apparent to those around us. This stability makes us more reliable and trustworthy. In personal relationships, this can deepen bonds as loved ones see us as pillars of strength, capable of supporting them emotionally, rather than reacting impulsively to stressful situations. It means that in times of conflict or tension, instead of escalating the situation with emotional reactions, we contribute to resolving it, enhancing the quality and depth of our connections. Professionally, the ability to stay calm and collected under pressure is invaluable. In the workplace, emotions can run high, but the capacity to maintain composure sets leaders apart. This isn't about suppressing emotions, but rather managing responses in a way that is considered and constructive. Decisions made in this state are typically more strategic and thoughtful, leading to better outcomes and demonstrating a level of leadership that is respected and often emulated. Furthermore, choosing actions over emotions leads to personal resilience and mental toughness. The Stoics believed that our greatest trials are opportunities for growth. By facing challenges with a calm and composed demeanor, we train ourselves to handle future stresses with greater ease. This resilience can dramatically improve our overall well-being, reducing feelings of anxiety and depression, and increasing our life satisfaction. Essentially, we're not just reacting to life's challenges, we're actively shaping our journey through them. Another significant benefit is the development of self-awareness and self-regulation. These skills allow us to understand our emotional triggers and effectively manage them. This awareness then extends beyond ourselves, improving our empathy and understanding of others' emotions. With this enhanced perception, we can navigate social interactions more skillfully, adapting our responses to suit different situations and personalities. The practice of choosing actions over emotions equips us with tools not just to survive in our world, but to thrive. By embodying the principles of Stoicism, we don't just go through life. We grow through life, continually improving ourselves and positively impacting those around us. Habit 6. Overcoming challenges. Mastering your emotions and consistently choosing rational actions over impulsive reactions is no small feat. It's a profound challenge that requires dedication, patience, and resilience. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not indulge in dreams of having what you do not have, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess." Practicing gratitude not only helps you appreciate life, but also shields you from the entitlement of others. Number 8. They help only when it benefits them. Some people only offer help when there's something in it for them. At first it can be hard to notice, but over time you start to see a pattern. They'll step in when there's a clear personal gain, but when you need support, they suddenly become too busy or unavailable. It's as if their acts of kindness are just transactions. They help because it enhances their image, benefits them directly, or puts them in a position of power. This kind of self-interest can feel like a betrayal, especially when you realize that your well-being is only valuable to them when it serves their own goals. For instance, you might lend a hand to someone in need, only to find that when you're the one going through a tough time, they're nowhere to be found. They might offer excuses or just ignore your requests for help. It becomes clear that their help was more about building a favor bank for themselves than about genuine kindness. Stoicism teaches us to act with integrity, regardless of whether there's a benefit to us. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "Let not your mind run on what you lack as much as on what you have." True help comes from a place of selflessness, not self-interest. This transactional approach to helping others can extend to more subtle ways of manipulating situations. They might offer advice that seems helpful, but it's always with the caveat that you owe them something in return. For example, they might help you with a small task at work, but later expect you to cover for them or do something in exchange. Stoics value assistance that comes without strings attached. As Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Their help is an attempt to control the situation, but your power lies in choosing not to engage in that exchange. It's easy to get frustrated or even angry when you realize you're dealing with someone who only helps when it benefits them. But Stoicism encourages us to maintain our inner peace, no matter how selfish others might be. Instead of harboring resentment, focus on cultivating a generous spirit yourself without the need for anything in return. Seneca wrote, "No man can live happily who has regard to himself alone and transforms everything into a question of his own utility." Helping others is an opportunity to practice virtue, not a transaction to get something in return. Their behavior often creates a sense of imbalance in relationships. You may feel like you're constantly giving while they take, without ever offering anything that doesn't benefit them. For example, they might enjoy the perks of being your friend, but when it's time to offer support, they disappear. This imbalance can drain you emotionally, especially if you're someone who values mutual respect and reciprocity. In these situations, the Stoic approach would be to focus on what you can control, your own actions and responses, while accepting that some people may never offer the same level of kindness. Over time, this kind of behavior can lead you to re-evaluate your relationships. If you're always the one giving and they're only helping when there's something in it for them, it's important to recognize the dynamic and protect your energy. Stoicism teaches us to protect our peace and not allow others to dictate the terms of our relationships. As Marcus Aurelius put it, when you have the opportunity to benefit another person, do so with sincerity and without expecting anything in return. True generosity comes from a place of inner strength, not out of a desire for reciprocity. Number 9, they have many enemies. People who have a trail of enemies in their wake often show us the consequences of their actions, even if they don't realize it. These individuals may present themselves as charming and friendly on the surface, but underneath they leave a path of damaged relationships, unspoken resentments, and unresolved conflicts. They may go on about how others have wronged them, or how they had to cut people off due to misunderstandings. But the truth is, when you consistently have problems with so many different people, the common denominator is usually you. These individuals often live in a world of blame. They accuse others of betrayal, but they never stop to ask why things keep falling apart around them. A friend of mine had someone in their life who was always pointing fingers at others for not understanding or supporting them. But when you looked closely, it was their own actions that were at the root of most conflicts. This person's inability to accept responsibility for their own part in things was a constant source of tension. Stoicism teaches us to take full responsibility for our actions, no matter how difficult it may be. As Epictetus said, we are not disturbed by what happens to us, but by our thoughts about what happens to us. The moment we shift the focus to our own behavior, we regain control and clarity. People who have many enemies also tend to speak poorly about those they've fallen out with. Instead of reflecting on the situation, they trash talk former friends, colleagues, or acquaintances. For example, you might hear someone constantly recounting how they've been wronged by every person they've ever worked with, or how no one ever understands them. This constant narrative of being the victim reflects a refusal to see things from other perspectives, and it often comes at the expense of their own growth. Stoicism reminds us to remain calm and composed in these situations. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Instead of engaging in their petty squabbles, take the higher road by practicing empathy and understanding, even if you don't agree with the person's behavior. One of the hardest things to do is to watch someone behave in a way that causes constant conflict, and then act surprised when they're isolated or surrounded by enemies. Their tendency to burn bridges can eventually lead to loneliness, and they may try to convince themselves that it's everyone else's fault. But in truth, their lack of self-reflection and their refusal to take responsibility for their actions are what perpetuate the cycle. In Stoicism, we are taught to focus on what is in our control, particularly our own actions. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." It's easy to get caught up in someone else's narrative, but it's important to stay grounded in your own truth and not get lost in the drama they create. These individuals often fail to learn from their mistakes. They repeat the same patterns, burning bridges, speaking ill of others, and distancing themselves from anyone who challenges their behavior. And because they don't learn from past conflicts, they're doomed to repeat them. A family member of mine went through cycles of friend groups, only to end up alone time and time again. Every time they'd start a new relationship, whether professional or personal, the cycle would repeat. They'd create tension, become defensive, and then cut ties, convinced that everyone else was to blame. Stoicism teaches us that growth comes from self-examination, not from avoiding uncomfortable truths. As Epictetus said, it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. By confronting our own mistakes, we can break free from cycles of conflict and start building healthier, more constructive relationships. Number 10. They thrive on hate. There are some people who seem to live in a constant state of anger and resentment. It's as if hatred fuels them, and without it, they wouldn't know who they are. These individuals often thrive in environments where negativity is rampant. They focus on flaws, criticize others endlessly, and can't seem to find anything good to say about anyone. Their minds are consumed by the faults and wrongs of others, and they take pride in pointing out imperfections wherever they see them. It's a toxic energy that can quickly spread, and it can leave you feeling drained if you're not careful. For instance, someone in your circle might always have something bad to say about the people around them. Whether it's a neighbor, co-worker, or even a distant relative, they're quick to list all the reasons why someone is wrong or deserving of criticism. It's exhausting to be around because every conversation turns into an opportunity for them to air grievances rather than to connect or build something positive. Stoicism teaches us to stay detached from unnecessary negativity. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. When dealing with people who thrive on hate, it's important to maintain your own composure and not let their anger cloud your thoughts or actions. What's interesting about people who thrive on hate is that they often have a distorted view of the world. They focus on what's wrong with others, constantly finding fault and reinforcing their own bitterness. Instead of seeing the world with a sense of possibility or growth, they see it as a battleground where they're perpetually at war. It's like their internal lens is permanently set to critical and nothing ever looks right through it. This mindset can make them feel like they're always right, which makes it harder for them to ever admit mistakes or see things from a different perspective. Stoic philosophy urges us to adopt a mindset of improvement and focus on what is within our control. Epictetus reminds us it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By choosing to rise above their hate, you focus your energy on growing and responding to the world with wisdom rather than bitterness. Their criticism can often feel like a form of self-defense. When you criticize others constantly, it can create a shield that protects them from confronting their own flaws. They may be projecting their own insecurities and unhappiness onto the people around them. For example, someone might belittle others to feel better about themselves. They tear down what they can't build up. Stoicism teaches us to look inward rather than outward for validation. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you encounter someone who thrives on hate, remember that their negativity says more about their inner turmoil than it does about you. You don't need to take it personally or let it affect your inner peace. People who thrive on hate also tend to be pessimists. They expect the worst in people, situations, and the world around them. When something goes wrong, their first reaction is usually anger, followed by blame. They don't seek to understand or find solutions. Instead, they focus on the flaws and faults they perceive. It's a draining mindset to be around, especially because they see every setback as an opportunity to complain rather than to learn or grow. Stoicism teaches us that setbacks are part of life and are opportunities for growth. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." Rather than being consumed by negativity, use challenges as chances to grow stronger and more resilient. What's even more concerning is that people who thrive on hate often don't see anything wrong with it. They justify their anger as righteousness, thinking they're entitled to feel and express hatred toward others. This can be particularly dangerous because they might try to drag others into their mindset, encouraging you to be as critical and resentful as they are. When this happens, it's important to remember the Stoic practice of recognizing what you can control and letting go of what you can't. Epictetus reminded us, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." In situations like these, the key is not to let their hate consume you. Respond with kindness, understanding, and a focus on your own path. Over time, the constant focus on hate can wear down relationships. People who thrive on negativity often struggle to maintain genuine, healthy connections. To live a pure, unselfish life, one must count nothing as one's own in the midst of abundance. A man is not called wise because he talks and talks again. But if he is peaceful, loving, and fearless, then he is in truth called wise. You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger. We hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for sticking us until the end.